First of all, I'd like to give all praises and honor to Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Rakwa Kodash, double honors to the apostles of GMS and elders. A big shout out to all you acumen faithfully following this word in sincerity and truth. This is Judges 1, I'm just going to read it out. If the Spirit tells me anything, I'll read that out, but it's going to be a straight read. Now after the death of Joshua, it came to pass that the children of Israel asked Yahweh, saying, who shall go up for us against the Canaanites first to fight against them? And the Lord said, Judah shall go up. Behold, I have delivered the land into his hand. And Judah said unto Simeon his brother, come with me into my lot, that we may fight against the Canaanites, and I likewise will go with thee into thy lot. So Simeon went with him, and Judah went up, and Yahweh delivered the Canaanites and the Perizzites into their hand, and they slew them in Bezek, 10,000 men. And they found Adonibezek in Bezek, and they fought against him. And they slew the Canaanites and the Perizzites. But Adonibezek fled, and they pursued after him and caught him and cut off his thumbs and his great toes. But Adonibezek said 70 kings, having their thumbs and their great toes cut off, gathered their meat under my table. As I have done, so God hath requited me. And they brought him to Jerusalem, and there he died. Now the children of Judah had fought against Jerusalem, and had taken and smitten it with the edge of the sword, and set the city on fire. Afterwards the children of Judah went down to fight against the Canaanites that dwelt in the mountain and in the south and in the valley. And Judah went against the Canaanites that dwelt in Hebron. Now the name of Hebron before was Kirjatharba. And they slew Shishai and Ahiman and Talmai. And thence he went against the inhabitants of Debir, and the name of Debir before was Kiriath-Jearim. And Caleb said, he that smiteth Kiriath-Jearim and taketh it to him will I give Achsah, my daughter, to wife. And Othniel, son of Kenaz, Caleb's younger brother, took it. And he gave him Achsah, his daughter, to wife. It's interesting. So the son of Kenaz, Caleb's younger brother, would have been his cousin, I think. So I'm not sure about that. And it came to pass when she came to him that she moved him to ask of her father a field. And she lighted from off her ass. And Caleb said unto her, what wilt thou? And she said unto him, give me a blessing, for thou hast given me a south land. Give me also springs of water. And Caleb gave her the upper springs and the nether springs. And the children of Kenite, Moses' father-in-law, went up out of the city of palm trees with the children of Judah into the wilderness of Judah, which lieth in the south of Arad, and they went and dwelt among the people. And Judah went with Simeon, his brother, and they slew the Canaanites that inhabited Zephath, and utterly destroyed it. And the name of the city was called Hormah. Also Judah took Gaza with the coast thereof, and Askelon with the coast thereof, and Ekron with the coast thereof. So one thing that's just coming to me is that, Judah's smart. When the Lord tells you to move, you move. When the Lord tells you not to move, you don't move. It's simple as, man. You don't just go off, I think I can take them. They don't work like that, man. That's not wisdom. When I move, you move just like that. and Yahweh was with Judah. There we go. That's the Spirit saying Yahweh was with you. You don't move by yourself, man. It's just madness. If you don't hear anything, you don't move. You wait. You wait until you know what to do through the Spirit. And he drove out the inhabitants of the mountains, but could not drive out the inhabitants of the valley, because they had chariots of iron. What's that note there? And they gave Hebron unto Caleb, as Moses said, and he expelled thence 3 sons of Anak. And the children of Benjamin did not drive out the Jebusites that inhabited Jerusalem, but the Jebusites dwell with the children of Benjamin in Jerusalem until this day. And the house of Joseph, they also went up against Bethel, and the Lord was with them. And the house of Joseph sent to descry, to seek to spy out Bethel. Now the name of the city before was Luz. And the spies saw a man come forth out of the city, and they said unto him, Show us, we pray thee, the entrance into the city, and we will shew thee mercy. And when he shewed them the entrance into the city, they smote the city with the edge of the sword, but they let go the man and his family. And the man went into the land of the Hittites and built a city, and called the name thereof Luz, which is interesting because that was the name of the old city which they destroyed. And the man came out and built a new city with the same name as the old name, which is the name of thereof until this day. So Luz meaning what does it say? Break down the meaning. The early name of Bethel, probably the name of the town, because it's actual altar pillaged down the town, name of a town, and name of the Hittite site unknown. Interesting. Loose, pronunciation loose. Often, obviously lost. Verse 27. Neither did Manasseh drive out the inhabitants of Bethshean and her towns, nor Tanakh and her towns, nor the inhabitants of Dor and her towns, nor the inhabitants of Ibleam and her towns, nor the inhabitants of Megiddo and her towns, but the Canaanites would dwell in that land. So it's really interesting because it says, whenever it says, and the Lord was with, you see that the person who went into the war or just drove out, smashed them up, and all these other cats who just went in, they didn't necessarily lose, but they weren't able to drive out. So again, the same thing, don't move unless you're being told to. And it came to pass when Israel was strong that they put the Canaanites to tribute and did not utterly drive them out. Neither did Ephraim drive out the Canaanites that dwelt in Gezer, but the Canaanites dwelt in Gezer among them. Neither did Zebulun drive out the inhabitants of Kitron, nor the inhabitants of Nahalol, but the Canaanites dwelt among them and became tributaries. So even though they didn't manage to drive them out, they did respect them. paid them some stuff, you know. Gang of forced workers, labour bang, serfdom, tributary, tribute, levy. So they just taxed them basically or got them put into work. Neither did Ashur drive out the inhabitants of Achor, nor the inhabitants of Zidon, nor Alab, nor Achzib, nor of Halba, nor of Aphik, nor of Rehob. But the Asherites dwelt among them, the Canaanites, the inhabitants of the land, for they did not drive them out. Neither did Naphtali drive out the inhabitants of Bethshemesh, nor the inhabitants of Bethanah, but he dwelt among the Canaanites, the inhabitants of the land. Nevertheless, the inhabitants of Bethshemesh and Bethanath became tributaries unto them. And the Amorites forced the children of Dan into the mountain, for they would not suffer them to come down to the valley. So even they got pushed out. But the Amorites would dwell in the Mount Heres, in Aijalon, and in Shalabim. Yet the hand of the house of Joseph prevailed, so that they became tributaries not. So even when they effectively were pushed back, you know, the hand of the house of Joseph, that's really interesting. The hand, the strength, the sign, the time. Yeah, it's just the power of the house of Joseph will not allow them to become bitches. And the coast of the Amorites was from going up to Akarabim, from the rock and upwards. So there was a line drawn, a border of which the Amorites inhabited. That's all. I'm going to shut off there. Shalom.